Before the first word was written, before the first temple was built, before the first king was crowned, before the first war was fought, there was a story. Not a story that was invented, not a story that was imagined, not a story that was handed down by those who wished to control you. A story that was lived. On a small, extraordinary, fiercely contested, exquisitely beautiful planet called Earth. Every culture on this planet has a creation story. Every indigenous people has an elder who remembers what came before. Every child, at some point, looks up at the night sky and asks the question that no school, no church, no government has ever truly answered. Who are we? Where did we come from? And why does it feel like we have forgotten something enormously, heartbreakingly important? This series is the answer to that question. Not as theory, not as religion, not as the carefully edited version of history you were handed and told not to question, but as story. The greatest story ever lived, told by someone who was there. And this is where it all begins. Every story has a guide, not a hero, not a savior, not a god descending from on high. A guide. Someone who has walked the terrain before you, who remembers the original map before it was redrawn by those who needed you to stay lost. In the Bhagavad Gita, a warrior named Arjuna stands on the battlefield, surrounded by chaos and stakes beyond imagining, and stops and asks, what is really happening here? What is truly at stake? And what am I in all of this? This series has its own Arjuna. His name is Dr. Amir Jahangiri, known to those who have found their way to him as the Wizard of Wivenhoe, for it was in that quiet corner of England that his lifetime's gifts were honed and fully brought into being. He is a shaman, a seer, a scholar of galactic history, who reads the true Akashic records not at the earth level where they have been edited and obscured, but at the universal level where the truth has never been touched. He has worked with thousands of souls across every dimension of healing. He has faced the kind of opposition reserved only for those who carry something genuinely threatening to the structures of control, and he has remained humble, precise, loving, undefeated. In another age, he would have simply been called a wizard, and he will happily answer to that. But in this story, he is rarer still. The one who was there, who remembers, who has chosen in this body at this moment in Earth's history to sit beside us and tell us what he knows, not for acclaim, but for the children of Earth. And for every soul who has ever looked up and known unshakably that there is far more to this story than they were ever allowed to remember. And now, without further ado, our Arjuna for this in-depth docu-series on the galactic history of our beloved Earth, the Wizard of Wivenhoe, galactic historian, healer of worlds, and in his own words, the car wash boy. Welcome, Dr. Amir. Such an honor to be with you here today. let us begin, and not with the map, but with the moment this map was first imagined. But before we step into the prologue, I want to pause here for a moment because what you're about to witness in this series, dearest audience, is not simply a conversation. Dr. Amir will be channeling this information directly in real time, unscripted. So what emerges has not been planned, rehearsed, or known in advance by either of us. It arrives at it as it is remembered. So before we go anywhere else, before Lyra, before the intervention, before the veil, I want to start with you, Dr. Amir, and with this. What made you say yes to this? What was the genesis of the greatest story ever lived?
Intention, birth, growth, maturity, degradation, and death have a consciousness and a moving force of their own. And it seems the right time for something new to be born. And you and I are facilitators of this. Who are we to say yes or no? We joyfully surf or float upon the waves of divine will and watch it go down.
Well, hopefully not literally go down, just float along.
As long as possible.
As long as possible. Exactly. So we haven't even discussed the protocol here, Dr. Amir. I know you want to channel. So do I need to give you a moment to get into the space where you need to get into?
Not necessary. It's happening as we speak. There's no big event of explosion and fireworks. No. It starts very gentle. And the sign that it is working emerges afterwards. I remember nothing. So yes, let's dive in.
Let's dive in then. So as we were discussing very briefly the overview of where we're going in this series, and yes, for the audience, this is going to be a series. We talked about beginning with the present instead of the past and setting the stage for a clearer understanding of where we are at right now. And I feel that that is a very good springboard, and Dr. Amir agreed with that. So my first question, Dr. Amir, who are we? Where are we? Here and now, in the broadest sense.
Beloved soul, shed from your consciousness all that makes you small. There is no here, there is no now, there is no past, present, or future. Existence exists. And that is our truest form. Sequences or cycles, as described in the natural birth, youth, maturity, degradation, and death of a universe, are necessary for expression. And that is all. And so if we consider ourselves drops of the ocean of source, with all the qualities of the mighty ocean in one drop, that is our truest nature. So we can observe consciousness as expressions of divine perfection in an imperfect way. And here we are in human bodies, experiencing a reality that is challenging, suitable for graduating souls, graduating out of the boundaries of a single universe or a collection of universes, or perhaps a small arm of the infinite fractal of existence.
Beautiful. So if someone with full galactic sight looked at our beloved Earth, our beloved planet right now, what would they actually see?
Overwhelming excitement. And my body is just having chills all over. So, oh my God, that is so fun. I bet I could do this better than all of these idiots. Yes, let me in, for goodness sake. And that's what we all say before we're
Mm.
actually in the bodies and our minds are wiped and it really gets real. It's the most challenging of realities in, let's say, physical reality. It's a place of contradiction and paradox, where we have masters of masters, and then we have brand new novices ready to enter kindergarten for the first time. And everybody is given equal opportunity. And so in there we find the great paradox. It is a place of intense suffering and sublime beauty and bliss and grace, all in the same place. And we are in the driver's seat with the ultimate control and free will to steer towards what we like. There's deception, there are acts of friendship and grace and compassion, and so we have the most glorious, beautiful, terrible dumpster fire in the cosmos,
Yes.
which is Earth.
Exactly. So if we were to examine this dumpster fire, Dr. Amir, let's look at it in terms of a term that's being thrown around quite liberally these days, and that is the matrix. If you could give us an overview of what that may entail from your perspective, please.
There are many forms of matrix, many matrices existing, some natural, some unnatural. The hierarchical organization of a company will form a matrix, and it is designed for a purpose of efficiency and productivity. So this type of structure that is not natural would be fairly common even amongst humans. If you're referring to the matrix involving reincarnation, experience, karma, dharma, and then the repeat of all of it, which would be samsara, this essentially begins 350 million years ago, and it is the 24th manifestation of this type of structure that I lovingly call guaranteed unnatural evolution. It starts 23 universes away for the first time, at least to the extent that I can reach and access, starting from a human body. It's in the local cluster of universes. There are 47 of them. Each universe can be likened to a grape on a vine. The fruit has many grapes next to each other, and that's a cluster of universes. The little fruit is connected to the vine with a stem. The vine may have many fruit. And then there is the infinite vineyard, which is this mechanism of cellular division. It doesn't just apply to the cells in a living being. The same logic and elegance applies to universes. And so in a certain placement, which is granted benevolently by Source for the expression of the divine spark for countless life forms, a universe may come into being and go through a natural period of existence and then be removed from existence like the breath of a living being, inhalation and exhalation.
Mm.
That's part of the Buddhist understanding, close to reality. What we would use in modern terminology would be a fractaline structure. No matter at what scale you observe it, it is identical. And so it is difficult for the human mind to truly comprehend the meaning of infinity. And so in certain spiritual downloads and religious texts, we would have an emphasis: light upon light, light upon light upon light. And so in universe minus 23, a very novice prime creator, recently reaching that level of evolution to be granted the privilege of creating a little bubble universe, created the laws of reality, how consciousness interacts with manifestation and manifested matter, structure of dimensions, and so on. And a very beautiful and sublime form of life was created. They emerged, they evolved into something resembling super intelligence in sublime harmony with their natural environment, and then a very slight change in the natural environment that they were living in occurred, and they all died out. Resilience was missing.
Mm.
And so that's that beautiful prime creator, being feminine in nature, almost lost her mind. Oh no, this cannot be. This cannot be. This cannot be. Oh my goodness, help, 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 help. And so a little pulse was sent out into the cosmos, and many came offering different solutions, and none seemed to do the job. The natural duration of existence in a universe is limited, and in most cases, intelligent life does not have sufficient duration and iterations to ascend out of their original form and to become multi-universal. So as hope was slowly dwindling away, a prime creator from a distant fractal, this distant part of existence, received the message and showed up. Different to all those present in the discussion to that point, this prime creator was a void being. The void is the ultimate high ground and the ultimate place of bringing in from infinite possibility that which is needed. And so this prime creator presented a design, which was the first time in this cluster of universes that guaranteed unnatural evolution was implemented. Meaning, if the natural lifespan of a universe is not enough, let's make it multidimensional. If a natural evolution takes too long, let's make it unnatural. Let's subject life to intentional guidance and pressure and motivation that would not push them towards extinction, but would result in natural evolution finding solutions in the right direction. And so usually this type of experiment is multi-timeline, multi-dimensional, and the scale of it is truly immense. The life forms emerging from this type of environment, blessed by natural evolution, which is exposure to source energy, ever-expanding complexity and unfoldment of beauty and glory, with technology. The results were so successful that this experiment never ceased. They shut down and set up shop in the next universe, the next one, and next one, and next one, and their arrival for the latest iteration of the experiment, which results in us, mighty humans, formally began about 350 million years ago. This was a time where the planet, our beautiful Mother Gaia, already existed, gifted and blessed with thousands of guardian crystals, each holding an open portal to the beloved source of all things, through which life is exposed to divine energy. And natural evolution happens at a pace and quality very rare in the entire cosmos, not just in this universe. And that many, many beings had already brought in archetypes and blueprints of life, and natural evolution was moving forward to a beautiful and satisfactory level, with the introduction of guaranteed unnatural evolution at a time where plants had already covered the surface of the earth. The molten stages of Earth's youth as she was moved into this part of the universe, was over the body of the planet, had been gifted with a very powerful soul, as it must be considered that Gaia is not the first intelligence or soul occupying the body that is this planet. For what was to come was too awful and too immense for a novice. The experiment began as life started to move from the ocean onto the surface in amphibian form, leading to cold-blooded and warm-blooded creatures, going through a sequence of experiments, each lasting 10 to 12,000 years in duration, to the present day. And so we have been through approximately 30,000 extinction events, separated by 10,000 to 12,000 years. In this long time, many of our ancestors, because we are all life, does not matter if it's sapien, Homo sapien, or if it's older versions of reptilian life, or if it is older versions of elemental life, many have ascended out of physicality, but the wisdom of their existence has been brought and moved forward into our physical and energetic structure. And so that is a long-winded answer to your question about when did it begin. Well, again, it seems to follow a theme. There is no beginning, there is no end. It just exists. And once one mighty human liberates oneself from the boundaries of illusion that we are small and limited, it is all accessible. And so we regain our natural state, at least as a soul.
Thank you so much. You spoke about the inhalation and the exhalation. And for us who are attempting to wrap our minds around this sense of infinity and these 350 million years of 30,000 extinction events and 10 to 12,000 years of episodes in between, can you describe if there is such a thing, the rose model, from what I understand, is one way of picturing the vastness of the universe within which we find ourselves within. So a toroidal field that breathes, a rose that opens and closes and opens and closes.
You're touching upon one of the most elegant forms of translation or down modulation of universal and cosmic law, which would be through hermetic laws, as above, so below, as within, so without. And certain fundamental laws are recycled. They are law after all. Scale does not exist, so the law is the law. And so that model of the toroidal field can be observed around an atom and the electrons and protons that circulate it. This would also apply to subatomic scale. The law is the law. It would apply to a living being, or even in smaller proportions, a single organ within a living being, like the heart, that creates a significantly powerful electromagnetic and ethereal field around it. This does apply to the brain in certain modes of consciousness, not just the baseline. It would apply to the planet, where we've got the magnetic shield going around, shielding out certain high energy particles from the sun, without which our DNA would disentangle. It also applies to the spin of a galaxy, the form that cosmic dust will take for a cluster of galaxies to emerge, but also to a single universe which from emerges the sacred boundaries separating one universe from another. And so this is the beauty of observation of reality and the cosmos with the scrutiny of the scientific method. It purifies us from wishful thinking and personal interpretation motivated by many factors that diminish the quality of the observation. We have a repetition of sacred law, and once this is understood at any scale, it can be applied to all scales.
Thank you. And the correlation of this beautiful model of the in-breath and the out-breath, how does it relate to the divinity of the souls and how we breathe our sacred breath? So is the microcosm, so the macrocosm. Can you speak to that, please?
Source, the beloved source of all sources, makes in an intention to self-disclose, and so it may know itself in all its glory. With that intention, the primordial divine void comes into existence. More precisely, the word would be from Sanskrit, the shunyata. It's not void, it is not empty. It contains all possibilities and all the energy that each and every possibility would require to manifest. And so that is the beginning, if you want to think of a beginning or end for the loose application that would have. Many souls come from the divine void. And then the realm of vibration begins. Initially in the form of sound, where source would say abracadabra, abracadabra, I speak and therefore it is. Vibrations then gain rapidity, the frequency goes up and we have light. And then before manifestation, elemental substances come into emergence. So from void and from source, before manifestation, we have elements. Now that manifestation can be implemented like modulation upon a carrier wave, that would be sound and light, dimensions can come into existence. A carrier wave is the giver of energy. And then upon something simple like a sinusoidal wave, we can implement modulation, which is the message. And so that is used in all scale. Sound and light are carrier waves. They are conduits to energy and consciousness. And so therefore, upon the carrier of sound and light, manifestation can occur. So the birth and death of a universe, well, these are all implementations of vibration to begin with. With vibration, one can hold a point of view and begin to observe cycles. How many times does the electron spin around the nucleus of an atom? And then we can start naming things. 100 rotations from a standstill, we shall call it a second. So very precise atomic timekeeping is done through this type of method. And then this ebb and flow, the cyclical nature of all things, allows equal opportunity to all possibilities to come into existence and have a fair chance of expression. And so you see, so far we haven't talked about good or evil. That is the small human trying to make sense of something that is too vast. And so these cycles are just a gift of life, a gift of expression. Nothing goes to waste. It is all source observing itself. And once the expression has taken full form and has been pushed as far as it can, now it's time for something else to have a turn. The natural life cycle of a cell in the body, it doesn't maintain a constant state. There's an ebb and flow, and after a while the cell is degraded and it's time for a new cell to come in its place. And so it's all about equal opportunity for expression of that which is perfect to begin with, that is the divine spark. And the expression of this beauty and perfection is not always perfect. And that's why different dimensions, different universes, the whole idea of time has been implemented. And so this is one of the common ways of expression, of existence and manifestation which is the expression of the divine essence. This is one of the ways that is very common, at least in this local branch of the infinite fractal of existence.
Thank you. So within this ebb and flow, within this equal opportunity that is the basis of the universality of the consciousness of this prime creator who came from the void this time, which I'd like to ask about also. Weaving in the multidimensionality of the human soul and its ebb and flow, coming in and out and weaving in and about these cycles, this beautiful canvas that was created by our beloved prime creator. How does this look? Can you please give us a deeper understanding of that ebb and flow that happens from within the soul, painted upon the canvas of the universe?
Go to any beach where there are rocks and observe the ocean smashing against the waves. We don't need to wait very long to observe a pattern. Water goes up, washes the rock, water goes back, the rock is exposed. As water is rising, one may see 1,000 lifetimes where there is a force unstoppable, and one may think, oh my goodness, how can this ever be reversed? And yet only patience is required. As the water goes down, one may think, oh my goodness, how can this be prevented and reversed? One just needs to be patient. And then in larger scheme, we have cycles of tidal waves going back and the ocean coming back in. In fact, that was the reason for our moon being brought into place, so that amphibian life evolves. Aquatic life will die out if it's just thrown onto land. And so that facilitated the migration of more complex moving life forms, air-breathing life forms, from the ocean onto the land. Cycles exist in every scale. And patience is only required to discover the natural period or time duration, or let's say combination of sequences contained within the boundaries of this cycle. And understanding natural cycles is important for ever greater expression, ever more refined expression of our divine spark. One of these would be observing patterns of our beautiful planet moving around the sun. With this understanding, cultivation of plants became possible for our ancestors. When to plant, when to harvest. And so awareness of cycles enables us to evolve in greater harmony with divine law and our natural environment.
Beautiful. So this brings up for me the mystery of physicality. Are we, of course, we are made up of more than one substance. So do we exist more within the molecules or within the ethers? And we just think we exist within the molecules, or both. How would you explain that?
The soul is a huge entity. So quite naturally, not all of that energy can be contained within the boundaries of one organism, even if it is very large, like a dragon. Now, looking at the tiny human, it can only contain a small amount of life force, prana or chi, that divine spark. And when it exceeds a certain threshold, quite naturally the body breaks down and we have the condition of ascension. This is seen by many who would testify the ascension of great ascended masters in physical form. It is achievable by everyone who has the dedication to follow through. And so only a tiny amount of that energy can exist in one little vessel. Think of these as little bubbles of life. The physicality is complex. And it is so beautiful that we have arrived at this point now in the conversation. The purpose of guaranteed unnatural evolution was the design of vessels that are suitable for all types of soul, including a direct bestowment of a divine spark into that wonderful vessel. And so that is not something that all types of vessel are capable of. So are we the body? No. Do we own a body? No. We're just here for the ride. The trauma is real. And so quite naturally, the dharma or wisdom acquired through it is also real. So we have concurrent existences in many, many different vessels, some of them human, most of them not. The human parts spread across multiple timelines, multiple realities, various dimensions. And so our past lives and future lives exist all at the same time. Parallel time streams exist all at the same time. And so with the implementation of portal technology, one can steer between these, move into past incarnations or move into other parallel streams of time or reality. Dimensional shifts, migration into other types of body that this same very soul is occupying is also possible. And so we are not the cells, we are not the matter. There is an interaction between the body and the soul, and there's an interaction between the soul and the body. So from body to soul, there's the accumulation of dharma or wisdom that is everlasting, because the pain is real. But then a very unique soul coming into a human body most certainly changes its constitution, all the way from which genes are active or expressed or suppressed, the smooth and efficient operation of the body leading to slower aging and degeneration of the body from a cellular level to organs and then the body as a whole, and then the quality of life, and then the quality of death. The soul most certainly has an impact on this, not just in one body, but it does change the constitution of the genome. So a very powerful master coming into a bloodline, the children inherit it. So certain bloodlines will become highly desirable. So it's a fluid situation. Nothing is written in stone, as our Atlantean ancestors would say. Later on, the Atlanteans passed this to Egypt. Nothing is written in stone. They believed if you write it in stone, it must be true, because it was so expensive to do so. So it's kind of like, hey, what has changed? Nothing.
And a little time consuming too, yeah.
Oh, they were fast. Oh, these guys were fast. It's only at the beginning that you miss the line and then you have to carve a whole new boulder. No eraser. You mess up and the whole thing, 20 tons. That would be an expensive mistake.
That's a big boo-boo. Big
Yeah,
boo-boo.
a massive boo-boo, yeah.
Massive boo-boo. Dr. Amir, you mentioned the word dharma, and I want to make sure that all of our listeners are savvy as far as what dharma is. And if we can put that into the context of what you were speaking about in terms of multidimensionality and concurrent existences, and more important, the bloodline. And what is it about that substance as you were saying, that we are not the molecules, we are not the ether. But why is it in particular that that substance carries the power that it does in terms of what you were speaking about?
We've got cyclical events, and again, our noble ancestors observing cycles of time and observing the night sky, the movement of celestial bodies, created a model which is not perfect by any way, shape, or form, but it is a functional model, good enough to describe certain events, and perfection is not always necessary for something to function. So a certain level of error is acceptable, and I'm talking about astrology. And this describes the cycles of time and how karmic events follow a repeated pattern, like a very complex mechanical clock with thousands of gears of all sizes, springs and mechanisms. People born under a certain, let's say, combination of energies seem to experience certain patterns all at the same time. Now, this doesn't mean we're stuck into what we are born into. Only someone that is entirely passive and does not do any kind of work to heal and evolve will continue to experience these patterns on cue. As soon as you do a little bit of work, the accuracy of the model starts degrading, and at a certain point it completely falls apart. It doesn't work anymore. So these events that seem to follow cycles and present certain types of lesson to be learned, we can call karma. It's not about cruelty, it's not about vengeance, it's not an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. No, that is savage. It's about giving you as many opportunities as you need to finally learn. Then once you learn, maybe you get tested once or twice just to make sure, and then that lesson is turned into wisdom, which we would call dharma. And so wisdom accumulated through the body is the whole purpose of souls coming down here. At the very beginning of our conversation today, and again, I'm grateful for you for this opportunity, we talked about souls coming in and that we are not the body, but there is an interaction between body and soul shard, or the soul itself, depending on the configuration. Certain gifts are passed through regular genetics. Half of the genome comes from the mother, half comes from the father. The mother's genetics are more important. Mitochondrial genetics. This is not my field. I'm just loosely observing that what the mother gives is more important than the paternal DNA. So that's one aspect. If a certain soul family or soul group have lived on a certain part of Earth for a long period of time, let's speak about, for example, Hawaii. The genetics are consolidated. And so people of this racial background seem to have certain types of quality. Whether it's immunity to disease or certain psionic abilities, this is a thing. And then we're looking at one incarnation where somebody can use a certain type of desirable body and match that with a certain type of soul and achieve something incredible. It's the same deal that we would have with an African dictator riding a Mercedes while everybody else is barefoot. The control system seems to like this kind of thing. They don't care if it's a 200-year-old Mercedes falling apart. As long as everybody is barefoot, that is good enough for the dictator. And so this is the interest in blood. The effect of the soul on matter. It is imbued with a vibration of the divine. Life force, or prana, leaves a mark on physicality. And so there's a difference between something holding the divine spark and a corpse. Same matter, the vibration leaves. And so something that would transfer that very quickly before it all ascends out of physicality would be blood. So blood
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It should be mentioned that this type of operation is messy and it is almost non-efficient. It's
Mm-hmm.
99.9% loss. So usually this type of abomination using blood has to be done in large scale for it to have any effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually 1 to 200. That's the proportion. So you have to sacrifice 200 beings to achieve what a willing participant can do in body on their own.
Oh, alrighty. Well, I never made that correlation about the blood being the animator in the body. I felt it was more of an etheric divinity aspect, but perhaps the one goes with the other.
One goes with the other. That is
Okay.
correct. So you
Okay.
see, you're looking at it from a different vantage point and making correct observations and building a correct model. Another way of looking at it would be bringing in the elements or elemental substances. Breath is important. In fact, the moment of death can be marked when the cardiovascular system ceases to operate. Doesn't matter if there's still living cells in the body for a few days or weeks after, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
So prana, or breath, the element of air. Water, if the body is dehydrated, same thing. Looking at the crystalline structures in the body, element of earth, yes, same deal. And having that access to the divine spark, that is a whole different thing. That is the active principle. If the void is taken away, the responding or passive principle, same deal. The elements break down. There are many ways of looking at something and making a model that is good enough for a certain purpose. Divine creation is infinite, and one cannot observe it fully, never mind try to comprehend the underlying dynamics. And so all models, it doesn't matter who is creating the model, if it's a 12th dimensional Arcturian, same fallacy applies to their approach compared to a human drawing lines in the sand with a stick, which would be our ancestors. Oh, that line in the sand with the stick gave us the pyramids, by the way. That's not a bad approach. Every
Oh,
now and again, it's good. And if a
there's
student doesn't
also a line in
understand,
a
you
sorry.
use the stick on them. Yep.
There's also a line in a Woody Allen movie that, oh, that's Ivan the Village Idiot. He couldn't write his name in the ground with a stick. So sorry, I thought you were going
That's
for a
beautiful.
little
That's
levity.
so good. And then there's another aspect of that same soul being into super ascended master, laughing so hard. Oh my God, this version of me is my favorite. You know?
Exactly. Well, yeah, I'm always want to bring a little bit of levity into
Oh,
such
humor is
such
amazing. Yes, please.
immense conversations. Oh my goodness. So you also mentioned a term, soul shard. So in case anyone, I know that your audience is mostly very savvy, but if you could give us a definition of what is a soul shard.
Well, thank you. It is important to be precise with our vocabulary and definitions so that we avoid confusion. Again, I don't claim any form of mastery. I'm just bringing through what I can perceive. And so I ask for forgiveness humbly for my shortcomings in this.
Mm.
But the way I understand it, a soul shard would be a sufficient amount of divine energy, memory, identity to animate a vessel. And so we can think of it as a burning flame. It's
Mm.
all the same flame, but depending on the kindling, it may get larger and more intense, or smaller and less intense. So sentience or souls can exist in all forms of vessel, and this starts from the mineral kingdom. A crystal can host a soul shard. Oh yes. In fact,
Mm.
without them, physical life would not emerge. The hosts, pardon me, the visitors into the crystalline host or vessel would be the guardian beings, those facilitating the emergence of life-bearing planets. And then from the mineral kingdom, we can move into, let's call that earth, into the element of water. All life on earth began in the oceans. And so with the form of sufficient boundaries, again, emphasis on boundaries, cell membranes, different types of chemical could form, holding memory. Memory seems to be important here. Identity or memory. And then with the accumulation of more cells, more memory and complexity would naturally emerge, and we've got life. This does also occur not just in the mineral kingdom, element earth, not just in element water. We are water elementals. Humans are water elementals. 80% water. Yeah. It could exist in the element of fire. And in fact, they're the first form of life, not physical life, that migrated to Earth, because their natural domain, their worlds, their planetary systems were connected to Earth through a natural network of portals or wormholes. So they were the first form of life living on our beautiful Mother Gaia. And so then we may have higher dimensional water element lake. We have air elementals. We have mountain elementals. We have pure energy beings, thunder. And then we have void beings. And so all of this is possible. Life emerges everywhere. So it needs boundaries, and it needs a mechanism for holding energy and memory. That applies to our technology. Look at these beautiful little circuitries we're creating at nanometer, atomic scale. These are living. Life is the natural byproduct in a universe where the laws are designed masterfully. And we come nicely back to the journey of guaranteed unnatural evolution and the first prime creator lady that kind of messed up, making it possible 24 universes down the line for humanity to emerge. So I think we got to get used to going in little spirals. I'm not going to say circles, because we are moving, but we're kind of spiraling around, and we seem to be observing the same types of laws. This is such an enjoyable conversation. Thank you.
Oh yes, I feel my brains have expanded tenfold just in the last 45 minutes. So you mentioned just now once again the void and this beautiful prime creator lady. So in this instance, and you also spoke about the fact that this prime creator, the soul that is inhabiting our beautiful planet, is not the original because of the magnitude of the exploration that was to be undertaken. So was it that beautiful prime creator's intention to invite the unnatural evolutionary process? And you notice, as you said before also, that we're not speaking in terms of good and evil, because that is a very basic dualistic and unevolved way of observing consciousness. Everything is both good and both evil. So in terms of that void being that beautiful prime creator lady, was it her intention that this time around be an unnatural exploration?
Within this universe that we are, both modalities, both approaches exist. It seems to be a common theme to build everything upon duality. It gives rise to base 8 mathematics, which very, very quickly evolve into binary combinations of 8-letter alphabet, goes into the hundreds of billions, and it reaches a point where an entire being can be very, very quickly described, not just in one snapshot in time and vibration and dimension and so on, but the entirety of the being. So it makes it very efficient for saving data, which we would call Akashic records. But it is not the only format. There are many different formats. Anything that is possible, it is given the opportunity, the equal opportunity of expression. But certain ones seem to be more viable. So this universe is based on duality, the active and the passive, the yang and the yin. And then from the yin, souls of the passive principle or the shunyata are very interesting. There's no identity. It's all the same. None of it applies. It all exists. And so from that domain, which is the ultimate high ground, or the initiation point for manifestation, you can manifest anything. Even if you have a vague idea about what you want to manifest, it seems to manifest in a way that fills in the blanks quite beautifully and perfectly. And this is something that is available to everyone. It's just thinking of a soul or a soul shard, which is enough to animate a body, and the body itself as a supercomputer capable of running many types of program or software. Incorporating the consciousness of the void is like installing another piece of software on the energy structure and the physicality of a body. So we all have access to this. Now becoming prime creator is just a matter of dharma. How far do we go along the path of evolution, and how much wisdom do we acquire? It's nothing to be proud about, it's just the next stage. And so many of the souls that are at that level, in fact over 300 of them, have a role in guaranteed unnatural evolution. So they are the primary clients of this procedure. Each, for one reason or another, seem to have parts in their universe where the laws are a little wonky and life does not do very well. So this mighty human body seems to be an all-rounder. It's not the fastest, it's not the strongest, it's not the smartest, it doesn't heal as rapidly as many other species. The key point is resilience and adaptability. And so these 300 prime creators seem to visit the experiment periodically, pop into a body where the latest version of their ordered human is presented to them for a test drive. We can then talk about who are the people or the beings that are governing the experiment and interacting with the prime creators. But I'll just go back to your question, the prime creator of this universe. Did that being intend for this experiment to be conducted here? Sure. Yeah. Imagine you've got a universe, and suddenly it becomes a communication and travel hub. And I like how the B went B, like Mr. Bean. Yes, that wasn't intentional. It popped. Now, if you have a travel hub or hub, you can extract taxes. It becomes vibrant, like a city on the Silk Road. You don't have to go anywhere. You're sitting pretty. People coming through pay you taxes and they bring you all sorts of goods. And so, of course, this is desirable for any local prime creator. So, of course, thumbs up from the very beginning. But then the most important thing was Earth. From an entire universe, now we're coming down to a tiny little planet. And the mother of this experiment would be Gaia. Earth did not reside in this part of the universe to begin with. It was brought over. And it took quite a long time to find a suitable soul that was strong enough to endure all the trauma that was going to be occurring here. Our beloved mother, Gaia, feels everything. She feels the pain of every single one of her children. And humans aren't the only game in town. She is gracious mother to many species. And so we couldn't find, we as in the collective of life, we couldn't find somebody strong enough. Finally, a very benevolent, beautiful prime creator volunteered. Before Earth, 13 different multi-universal souls came in and they said, oh, to hell with this. No, you guys, you bastards are crazy. No, no, no. Finally, Gaia said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll take one for the team, but you're going to owe me forever. And then the 300 prime creators said to Gaia, okay, we owe you forever. And it was made possible. So she's the one that's providing the natural part of guaranteed unnatural evolution. In her presence, we've got the guardians, the crystals, each hosting a guardian soul and holding an open portal to source. And each one of these massive crystals, like a 100-story skyscraper, naturally communicates with the crystals around it, forming the earliest form of grids called the dragon grids. And that is special about Earth. And then the unnatural part, the species used for the experiment 24 universes away, guess what? They're still here. And they are the praying mantis.
Okay. Okay. Well, before we get into those kinds of species, etc., and the peripheral explorations, we decided today that we were going to explore this beautiful planet as a starting off point. And I just want to check in with your energy because I'm noticing the time. We've been going for an hour. So how are you doing, Dr. Amir? Are we good to go for a little bit longer?
I'm if you find it agreeable, let's make these series 1 hour series.
Very good. Very good.
Because our audience will probably experience great changes in their energy because we are all doing this together. Everybody hearing our voice, my esteemed teacher and friend, dear Renata, everybody hearing our voice is tapping in with us, and they're experiencing shifts in energy and consciousness. We are triggering the opening and closing of portals. So yes, let's be gentle upon the poor Guji-goo human body.
Let's. And just to end off on a positive, if you will indulge me, we were speaking about the the dumpster fire and our beloved Gaia stepping in. So this is the inverted aspect of her in the duality, in the darkness, riddled with fear, etc., etc. And you were speaking about the ascension. So in terms of her evolution and where we find ourselves today, can you tell us a little bit about where we're at in terms of that process and where we are going when we step beyond the fear, beyond the duality?
I love this. Well, you see, there is no beginning, middle, or end. What is, and all that is accumulated rightfully with integrity acquired through this experiment that is Earth for a soul is wisdom. And so this is the perfect place to critically self-evaluate. Am I strong? Can I heal? Can I rise above and forgive? Can I break through all the boo-boo and connect back to source? And so this is what souls get out of it. And so this inversion, this apparent observable cruelty, all that seems to be meaningless suffering in its ignorance and in its distortion and inversion, it is really providing us a true service. And beings that are facilitating it, in their ignorance, they are useful idiots. May Source bless them and heal them and evolve them. They are doing us the greatest act of service. Without them, where would we find this level of madness? And so when a soul is about to get ready to become a prime creator for the first time, there's no judgment, there's no judge, jury, and executioner. It's all self-evaluation. We really want to be of a suitable level of merit and ability, because if not, we will be given a little bubble universe and will mess up. So it's very important to know what to do or what not to do. Many beings are already prime creators. They just want to up their game. And so down here, essentially, we're a collective of souls playing a very complex game of dumbass, with our eyes closed, ears covered, arms and legs bound, and we're rolling around in the dirt like frickin' idiots. And as soon as the eyes are opened and the ears are opened and the bindings are off, the game is over. And so it's just that matter of instantaneous decision making that, okay, enough is enough. There is a certain enjoyment and euphoria in madness or intoxication. And very quickly it reaches a point where it's not enjoyable anymore. It's fun first time you fall in the mud, but if you're doing that every day, every morning before going to work, it's not fun anymore. So there's a perfect dosage of the madness that serves a very critical purpose, and that is evaluating oneself to find weaknesses. And so there's nobody there, there's no God judging us. Oh no, you evil bastards, I'm going to burn you forever and ever. Whoever wrote that fairy tale is a psychopath. Let us be honest, let us shed fear. The universe is far too beautiful and sublime for that kind of psychopathy and mental illness to be the destiny of a divine soul. No.
Exactly.
It's ourself. And then we have the opportunity to leave the body, observe, say, oh, no, I can do better. I can do better. And we often do.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Amir.
It's my honor. to be continued. Yes, oh, well, we're going to go places that we haven't even thought about yet.
Exactly.
Very glorious.
Exactly. So this was our prologue. So the next time we get together, that will be our act one, and we'll be setting the stage itself and ask again, what is this place really? We'll go beyond the lands that we've been told exist into civilizations living within the earth herself, and we'll come to know our beloved earth not as a rock spinning through space, but as what she's always been, our beloved Gaia, living, breathing consciousness.
Yes. Prime creator, goddess, most refined. Yes.
So the stage is set, and we will see you there. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone.
Till next time.
Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.